Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one truth you must accept early, it's this: life does not treat everyone the same. Some people rise, some people fall, some build fortunes, some build regrets, some create a life they love, others inherit a life they barely survive. And here's the secret: it's not talent, it's not luck, it's not the hand you were dealt, it's the choices you make with the hand you're holding right now. See, winners and losers, they wake up to the same sun. They walk through the same storms. They wrestle with the same doubts. But one group rises above, while the other sinks below. Why? The difference is invisible at first. It's the daily disciplines you can't see. It's the small responsibilities no one claps for. It's the habits, the thinking, the philosophy that quietly builds, or quietly destroys, a life. In this message, we're going to uncover the real difference. Not the fairy tale version. Not the overnight success myth, but the hard, gritty, unshakable truth about what separates the winners from the losers. If you listen closely, you'll discover the simple, powerful adjustments you can make, starting today, that will put you on the side of winners for the rest of your life. So if you're ready to stop guessing, stop waiting, and start building a life worth celebrating, stay with me. The journey begins now. Winners are made in the small choices. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest lessons I ever learned in my life is this: big success is hidden inside small decisions. Not once in a lifetime, not once in a year, every day, every hour, every choice. Now, most people think success comes from one big dramatic decision. They imagine a grand moment, a lucky break, a sudden miracle, a bold announcement. But that's not how winners are made. No, my friends. Winners are made quietly, in the shadows, long before the applause ever arrives. It's not the mountains that defeat people. It's the pebbles in their shoes. And it's not the big disasters that derail success. It's the 1,000 tiny missteps along the way. Small choices, small disciplines, small sacrifices. That's where winners are born. Let me explain it this way. Every small decision you make either builds your future or mortgages it. Every small choice is like a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming. When you choose to wake up early instead of sleeping in, that's a small win. When you choose to study for an hour instead of scrolling your phone, that's a small win. When you choose to save a little instead of spending it all, that's a small win. And these small wins start stacking up. Day by day, choice by choice, you are shaping your destiny, whether you know it or not. Now here's the danger. The small bad choices don't look dangerous in the moment. Skip the workout today. No big deal. Eat the extra slice of cake. What harm can it do? Put off the important call. You'll get to it tomorrow. But here's the truth. Failure doesn't show up overnight. It sneaks up a day at a time. Neglect is like an infection. Painless at first, deadly later. And the flip side is equally true. Success doesn't show up overnight either. It grows in secret. It grows in those early mornings nobody sees. It grows in the quiet study sessions, when everyone else is out having fun. It grows in the discipline to say no, when the crowd says yes. That's why I tell people, success is easy to do, and just as easy not to do. That's the paradox. A 15-minute walk is easy. Skipping it is easier. Reading 10 pages of a good book is easy. Turning on the television is easier. Saying thank you is easy. Forgetting gratitude is easier. The little disciplines, the tiny habits, the quiet commitments, that's where the real battle is fought. You don't become a winner because of one big day. You become a winner because of thousands of tiny days where you did what others weren't willing to do. Now, here's what I want you to remember. Every day, you are voting with your habits, you are voting with your attitude, you are voting with your work ethic. And at the end of the day, your results, your life, will reflect the votes you cast. Winners don't win because they want it more. Winners win because they choose it more, in the smallest of ways. So ask yourself, what small choices am I making today? Are they leading me closer to the life I want, or are they quietly taking me away from it? Because in the end, you don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. Start winning the small battles, my friends. Start honoring the small commitments. Start valuing the small disciplines, because that's where the miracle begins. And when the miracle comes, and it will, you'll realize it was never just one big decision after all. It was thousands of small, faithful choices that added up to a life worth celebrating. The winners know this. Now you do too. Winners embrace responsibility. Losers make excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a philosophy that will change your life if you let it. Winners take responsibility. losers make excuses. It's as simple and as powerful as that. You see, life hands all of us challenges. No one escapes. The rich and the poor, the educated and the uneducated, the strong and the weak. Life is not about avoiding obstacles. It's about choosing how you respond to them. And here's the truth. You can either make progress or you can make excuses. But you can't do both. Winners understand this. They look at their results, good or bad, and they say, I created this. I am responsible for this. And if I don't like it, I can change it. Losers, on the other hand, are always pointing fingers. It's the economy. It's my boss. It's my parents. It's bad luck. It's just the way the world works. Now listen carefully. The moment you blame someone else for your situation, you give away your power to change it. You hand over the keys to your own future. You make yourself a victim instead of a victor. You see, responsibility is not about fault. It's about ownership. Maybe it wasn't your fault you were born into a difficult family. Maybe it wasn't your fault you lost the job, or that the economy turned against you. But it is your responsibility to decide what you do next. Winners accept this uncomfortable truth. I didn't choose everything that happened to me, but I absolutely choose my response. And that response, that ownership, changes everything. Because when you take responsibility, you get your power back. When you say, this is my life, and I will not outsource my destiny to anyone else, you become unstoppable. Now here's what's fascinating. Most excuses sound reasonable. They sound logical. They sound justified. But here's what you must understand. Excuses may make you feel better today, but they will cost you your future tomorrow. You don't have time to sit around explaining why you're stuck. You have work to do. You have dreams to build. You have a life to create. Now you might ask, Jim, how do I know if I'm making excuses? Simple, look at your language. Winners say, here's what I'm doing about it. Losers say, here's why I can't do anything about it. Look at your focus. Winners focus on solutions. Losers focus on problems. Look at your energy. Winners spend energy creating change. Losers spend energy explaining why change isn't possible. And let me tell you, the more responsibility you take, the more freedom you'll feel. Because when you stop waiting for others to fix it, you stop waiting altogether. You start moving. You start growing. You start winning. Responsibility is heavy at first. Yes, but it's the weight that strengthens you. It's the burden that turns into blessing. You must be willing to say, I am responsible for my habits. I am responsible for my mindset. I am responsible for my skills, my choices, my direction. Because if you won't own it, you can't change it. And if you can't change it, you'll stay stuck. Blaming, complaining, shrinking your life one excuse at a time. So I'll leave you with this. Winners build their lives on the foundation of responsibility. Losers build their lives on the quicksand of excuses. Which foundation are you building on? Your future is waiting for your answer. Winners value time. Losers waste it. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one resource we all get equally, it's time. Rich or poor, young or old, black or white, every morning life hands you 24 brand new hours. Free of charge. Now here's the catch. It's not how much time you get. It's how well you use it. You see, winners understand something that losers never fully grasp. Time is life. Every wasted minute is a piece of life you'll never get back. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose possessions and buy them again. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. Winners wake up every day with a sense of urgency. They know the clock is ticking, whether they act or not, and they choose to act. Losers, on the other hand, treat time like an endless resource. They say, I'll do it tomorrow. There's always next week. Someday, I'll get serious. But someday is not a day on the calendar, and the road called someday leads straight to a town called nowhere. Now let me tell you something. The future is not some far-off event. The future is being created, right now, by what you do with your next hour. You don't drift into success. You decide into success. And you decide one block of time at a time. Winners schedule their lives around what matters most. They don't leave their priorities to chance. They plan their days the way an architect plans a building. Carefully, intentionally, purposefully. Losers, they let the day happen to them. They react. They scramble. They waste hours on meaningless distractions. Social media, gossip, TV, excuses, and then wonder why life isn't getting better. Now I'm not saying every minute must be work. Rest has a place. Recreation has a place. But winners rest on purpose. Losers rest by default. You must ask yourself, every day, is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to the life I want? Or is it stealing the life I was meant to live? Because time doesn't shout at you when you're wasting it. Time doesn't warn you. Time doesn't send an alarm. It just slips away. Quietly, patiently, permanently. And one day you wake up and realize, it wasn't a shortage of talent. It wasn't a shortage of opportunity. It was a shortage of wise decisions with the time you were given. Here's a principle that winners live by: the price of success is paid in hours, not in dreams. It's what you do with your mornings. It's what you do with your evenings. It's what you do when no one is watching. Your calendar is a mirror. It reflects your true priorities. Not what you say matters, but what actually matters. Winners value their time like gold. Losers treat it like sand, slipping through their fingers, thinking there's always more. So here's my challenge to you. Guard your hours the way you would guard your fortune. Because in the end, your time is your fortune. Spend it wisely. Invest it intentionally. Protect it fiercely. Because how you spend your time, my friends, is how you spend your life. Winners learn, losers assume they already know. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the clearest dividing lines between success and failure is this: winners keep learning. Losers think they already know enough. It's not intelligence that separates the two. It's not degrees or certificates or titles. It's the attitude, the mindset, the hunger for growth. See, here's what winners understand. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. Learning isn't a phase that ends after school. Learning is a lifestyle. It's a commitment to stay curious, to stay humble, and to stay growing. Losers, though, they reach a certain point and they stop. They say, I know enough. They say, I've heard it before. They say, there's nothing new under the sun. And that attitude locks the door to their own future. Let me tell you something. The minute you stop learning, you start declining. Not immediately, not dramatically, but day by day, quietly and invisibly, you begin falling behind, while the world keeps moving forward. The winners you admire, the top performers, the wealthy, the wise, they didn't stop learning once they made it. No, they read, they study, they listen, they attend seminars, they seek out mentors, they ask questions. They don't just work harder, they work smarter, and working smarter comes from learning faster. Now here's a key truth. Learning is voluntary. Nobody's going to force you. You have to decide to keep your mind open. You have to decide that growth is more important than comfort. Because learning, real learning, is uncomfortable. It challenges your assumptions. It stretches your thinking. It demands humility. The humility to say, maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's something I don't yet understand. Losers protect their pride. Winners protect their future. Ask yourself, am I spending more time defending what I already know, or discovering what I don't yet know? Because the person who stops learning starts defending. They defend their habits, their failures, their small thinking. And pretty soon, they're not growing. They're decaying. Now, learning doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about cramming information into your brain. It's about exposing yourself to new ideas. It's about reflecting on your experiences. It's about asking better questions. You can learn from a book. You can learn from a mentor. You can learn from a conversation. You can even learn from your mistakes. If you're willing to listen, life is the ultimate teacher, and every day offers a new lesson. If you're paying attention, here's something to remember. Winners make their minds a library. Losers make their minds a museum. A library is alive, active, expanding. A museum is filled with relics of the past, dusty, outdated, forgotten. Which one are you building? You want to win? Then commit to this simple rule. Never go to bed at night without learning something new that day. Learn a new idea. Learn a new strategy. Learn a new lesson from your wins and from your mistakes. Because the more you learn, the more you can earn. The more you grow inside, the more you can achieve outside. And the more you evolve, the more value you bring to yourself, to your family, and to the world. Remember, the future belongs to the learners, not the know-it-alls. Winners stay teachable. Losers stay stubborn. Choose wisely. Winners master emotions. Losers are ruled by them. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn in life is this. If you don't master your emotions will master you. And let me tell you, it's not talent that ruins people. It's not opportunity. It's not luck. It's emotions left unchecked. You see, life will test you. People will offend you. Plans will fall apart. Disappointments will knock on your door when you least expect it. The difference between winners and losers isn't that winners avoid emotional storms. No, winners feel the fear, the anger, the discouragement, but they do not let it dictate their actions. Losers, on the other hand, let emotions run the show. They get upset and they quit. They get scared and they freeze. They get frustrated and they lash out. They let a moment of emotion destroy years of effort. Let me give you a truth worth writing down. You are not your emotions. You are the master of them. If you choose to be, emotions are powerful servants, but terrible masters. They are designed to inform you, not to control you. Fear can alert you. Anger can energize you. Sadness can humble you. But when you act blindly out of emotion, you sabotage your own progress. Winners know how to pause. They know how to breathe. They know how to step back, reflect, and respond, rather than react. See, it's easy to do the right thing when you feel good. Anybody can be patient when life is easy. Anybody can be kind when everyone's being kind to them. But true character, the kind that builds winners, is forged when emotions run high and you choose discipline over impulse. And let me remind you, emotional mastery isn't about suppression, it's about direction. It's not pretending you don't feel anger. It's learning to direct that anger into problem solving, into building, into growth. It's not pretending you aren't scared. It's facing your fear, standing tall, and taking the next step anyway. You don't overcome fear by feeling brave. You overcome fear by doing brave. You don't overcome anger by shouting louder. You overcome anger by thinking clearer. Winners understand this simple rule. How you feel is important, but what you do with how you feel, that's everything. Losers wait for motivation to strike. Winners act based on commitment, not emotions. Losers let moods govern their days. Winners let principles govern their lives. Now, does that mean you'll always feel good? No. But winners don't make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. They make decisions based on the life they are committed to build. Ask yourself, am I running my emotions, or are my emotions running me? Am I reacting out of habit, or responding out of wisdom? Because if you cannot control yourself, the world will control you. If you cannot master your anger, someone else will provoke you. If you cannot master your fear, circumstances will imprison you. But if you learn to master your emotions, if you learn to act with courage, patience, and clarity, then no storm can sink your ship. You'll stay steady when others panic. You'll keep moving forward when others quit. And you'll win the battle most people lose, the battle within. Remember, winning is not the absence of emotion. Winning is the mastery of it. Choose mastery. Choose strength. Choose to be bigger than the emotion of the moment. Because that's what separates the winners from the losers. Winners stay disciplined. When motivation fades, ladies and gentlemen, let me share a truth that separates the amateurs from the champions. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps you going. You see, motivation is wonderful. It feels good. It's exciting. It's that rush of energy you get when you start something new, when the dream is fresh, when the possibilities seem endless. But here's the problem. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation is based on feelings, and feelings change. Motivation comes and goes, like the weather. But discipline, real discipline, shows up every day. Whether the sun is shining or the storm is raging, winners understand this. They don't rely on motivation to carry them through. They build systems. They build habits. They build a life where discipline runs the show. Not emotion, not inspiration, not chance. Losers, on the other hand, are slaves to their moods. They do what needs to be done when they feel like it. And if they don't feel like it, they delay. They excuse. They drift. But here's the truth. You don't have to feel like it to do it. You don't have to be excited to show up. You don't have to be in the perfect mood to make progress. You just have to show up. See, winners show up even on the days they don't feel like it, especially on those days, because they understand that greatness is built in the ordinary moments. The moments no one applauds, no one notices, no one even knows about. The great ones, the ones you admire, they built their success in the trenches of ordinary, unglamorous discipline. Now here's the secret. Discipline creates momentum. Momentum creates results, and results create motivation. Most people have it backwards. They think they need motivation to get results. No, you need action. To get motivation, you need movement to create energy. Winners build discipline like a muscle. And just like any muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. At first it's hard. At first you don't want to. At first it feels uncomfortable. But over time it becomes who you are. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. And that, my friends, is rare. And that is powerful. Ask yourself today, Am I living by my commitments or by my emotions? Am I driven by discipline or distracted by mood? Because here's the reality. The life you want is hidden behind the work you're avoiding. And every time you show up, tired, unmotivated, discouraged, and you still do the work, you are casting a vote for the future you desire. You are telling the world and yourself, I am serious. I am committed. I will not be denied by a bad mood. That's what winners do. They don't make promises to themselves and then break them because they feel differently the next day. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't bargain with procrastination. They honor their word. They honor their mission. They honor their discipline because they know this simple truth. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. And if you pay the price of discipline today, you get to live with the rewards tomorrow. But if you refuse, if you only move when you feel like it, you'll pay the far greater price of regret. And trust me, friends, regret is a bill you don't want to pay. So choose discipline. Choose consistency. Choose to show up, no matter what, because when the motivation fades, and it will, discipline is what will carry you to the finish line. Winners associate with excellence. Losers settle for comfort. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to change your life, let me give you a simple but profound truth. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Winners know this. Losers ignore it. See, the people around you are not neutral. They are either lifting you up or pulling you down. They are either inspiring you to grow or encouraging you to stay the same. And the truth is, excellence is contagious. But so is mediocrity. Winners are very intentional about their associations. They seek out excellence. They look for people who challenge them, who stretch them, who demand more of them. They want to be around others who have higher standards, bigger dreams, sharper minds, because they know, if you associate with excellence, you rise. If you associate with comfort, you decay. Losers, on the other hand, prioritize comfort over growth. They spend time with people who make them feel good about staying small, people who excuse laziness, people who validate excuses, people who reinforce the idea that it's okay to settle. And here's the real danger. When you settle for comfort in your associations, you settle for comfort in your life. Let me ask you, when you spend time with your closest circle, do you feel challenged to rise or invited to relax? Are you becoming sharper, wiser, stronger, or are you becoming softer, lazier, weaker? Because you can't swim with anchors tied to your ankles, and you can't fly when you surround yourself with people who are afraid to leave the ground. Winners understand that sometimes growth requires separation. Sometimes you have to bless people and move on. Not because you think you're better, not because you're angry, but because you've chosen a different destiny. You're not judging them, you're choosing you. And understand this. Association is not just about people. It's about everything you allow into your mind. The books you read, the conversations you entertain, the shows you watch, the voices you listen to. All of it is either building you or breaking you. Winners curate their input the way a master artist chooses his tools, carefully, intentionally. They understand that greatness is too important to leave to chance. Losers, meanwhile, are casual about what they consume. They let negativity pour in. They feed on gossip, junk, noise, and over time they wonder why their dreams feel so distant. You want a better life? Then walk with people who are building a better life. Spend time with those who are where you want to be, not just those who are comfortable where you are, because excellence is a language, and if you want to speak it fluently, you have to immerse yourself in it. Here's something to remember. Environment is stronger than willpower. If you stay in an environment of excellence, you will rise naturally. If you stay in an environment of mediocrity, you will sink gradually. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of time. So today, make the tough but powerful decision. Choose your associations with your future in mind, not just your feelings in the moment. Surround yourself with excellence. Surround yourself with courage. Surround yourself with discipline, integrity, ambition. Because winners don't just happen. They are cultivated by design. And the company you keep will either be your wings or your cage. Choose wisely. Winners focus on solutions. Losers focus on problems. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share a powerful principle with you today. Where you focus, you finish. Winners and losers see the same world, but they live in it very differently. The difference? Winners focus on solutions. Losers focus on problems. It's not that winners are blind. They see the problems. Oh, they see them clearly. But they don't park there. They don't build their homes in the land of complaint. They don't waste their energy rehearsing what's wrong over and over again. No, winners use problems as fuel. They see every difficulty as a call to creativity, as an invitation to grow, as an opportunity to rise higher. Losers, on the other hand, become professional problem spotters. They can tell you everything that's wrong with the company, everything that's wrong with the government, everything that's wrong with the economy, everything that's wrong with the weather, and everything that's wrong with you too, if you give them enough time. But ask them for a solution. Silence, excuses, more complaints. Because here's the reality. It's easier to complain than it is to create. It's easier to sit on the sidelines and criticize than it is to step into the arena and fight for something better. But here's what winners understand. You don't get paid for spotting problems. You get paid for solving them. You don't build a great life by finding all the reasons why it can't be done. You build a great life by finding a way. And sometimes, hear me, sometimes there isn't a clear way yet. Sometimes you have to create it. Winners are solution-minded. They ask better questions. How can we fix this? What's the opportunity hidden inside this obstacle? What resources do I already have that I'm not using? What can I do today to move one step closer to the answer? Losers ask questions too, but listen to the difference. Why does this always happen to me? Who's to blame? Why can't things ever be easy? See, questions determine focus, and focus determines outcomes. If you ask disempowering questions, you'll find disempowering answers. If you ask powerful questions, you'll find powerful solutions. Now understand this. Being solution-minded doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending there are no problems. It means refusing to be defined by problems. It means choosing to believe and to act as if there is always a way forward, because there almost always is. And here's the amazing part. When you become a solution finder, you become valuable. In business, in relationships, in leadership, wherever you go, people will seek you out, because the world has enough people pointing at the dark. It needs more people lighting candles. Ask yourself today, am I feeding the problem, or am I feeding the solution? Am I spending more time describing the issue, or designing the answer? Because the longer you stare at a problem, the bigger it gets. But the moment you shift your eyes toward a solution, energy returns, hope returns, strength returns. That's what winners understand. Problems are not stop signs. They are signposts, guiding you to a better strategy. Every solution you create builds your confidence. Every problem you overcome sharpens your skills. Every breakthrough you experience becomes a brick in the fortress of your success. So remember, losers make the problem bigger. Winners make themselves bigger than the problem. Focus where it matters. Focus on solutions, because your future depends on it. Winners act with integrity. Losers look for shortcuts. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want real, lasting success, not just flashes of it, let me give you a foundational truth. Winners build their lives on integrity. Losers gamble with shortcuts. You see, integrity isn't just about honesty when people are watching. It's about honesty when no one is watching. It's about doing what's right, not what's easy. It's about playing the long game, not just chasing the quick reward. And here's the secret. Integrity is invisible at first, but it becomes visible over time. At first, it looks like the shortcutters are winning. It looks like the cheaters are getting ahead. It looks like cutting corners is smart. But wait, give it time. Because character, like a tree, takes time to reveal its roots. And eventually, always, the shortcutters are exposed. The foundation they built their success on was weak. And when the pressure comes, it crumbles. Winners understand this. They know that shortcuts might be tempting, but shortcuts are expensive. They cost you your credibility. They cost you your reputation. And eventually they cost you the very success you were chasing. Let me tell you something. Success built without integrity is a house of cards, and the wind is always coming. Real winners build slow and strong. They invest the extra time to do it right. They make the tough choices. They walk the harder path today so they can enjoy the rewards tomorrow. Now here's a painful truth. Integrity doesn't always pay immediately. Sometimes it feels like you're losing. Sometimes it feels like you're being overlooked. Sometimes it feels like the liars and cheaters are racing ahead. But hear me, you're not losing. You're building something they can't take away. You're building something that lasts. Because while shortcuts might bring quick results, only integrity brings lasting results. And winners don't just care about reaching the goal. They care about how they reach it. They want to be able to look in the mirror without shame. They want to sleep at night with a clear conscience. They want to build something that their family, their children, and their community can be proud of. Ask yourself today, Am I building slow and strong or fast and fragile? Am I more concerned with doing it quickly or doing it right? Am I chasing applause today or legacy tomorrow? Because you are always planting seeds. Seeds of character or seeds of compromise, and harvest day always comes. Now let me be clear. Winners are not perfect. They make mistakes, they slip. But here's the difference. When winners slip, they correct course. They apologize if necessary. They learn, they rebuild. Losers, when caught, look for the next shortcut. They double down on deception. They hope they can outsmart consequences. But nobody escapes the law of the harvest. You don't get corn by planting weeds, and you don't get lasting success by sowing dishonesty. Winners know it's not just about getting there. It's about who you become on the way there. Because your success without integrity is just an illusion. But your success with integrity is a fortress. It can weather storms. It can stand the test of time. So today, commit yourself to building slow, strong, and true. When others run toward shortcuts, you walk the steady path. When others bend the rules, you stay upright. Because while shortcuts are tempting, integrity is transformational. And winners, real winners, are not in it just to win. They are in it to win the right way. Winners persist through failure. Losers quit at frustration. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's a defining difference between those who make it and those who don't, it's this: winners persist through failure. Losers quit at frustration. Now let's get something straight. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. It's baked into the process. It's woven into the journey. It's the tuition you pay for achievement. Winners know this. They expect failure. They're not surprised by setbacks. They're not devastated by obstacles. They understand that stumbling is not falling. It's learning. Losers, on the other hand, believe that failure is final. They believe that one rejection, one setback, one disappointment is a verdict. And so when frustration hits, and it always does, they quit. They back down. They shrink. They look for the exit. But hear me loud and clear. Frustration is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to grow. The question is not whether you will experience frustration. You will. The question is, what will you do when you meet it? Will you retreat, or will you rise? Winners rise. They adjust. They adapt. They innovate. They double their commitment, not their excuses. They understand that frustration is simply feedback, a message that says, not this way, try another. They see failure as a temporary detour, not a dead-end street. Think about it. Every breakthrough you admire was built on a mountain of setbacks. Every champion you respect has a hidden history of defeat, of embarrassment, of pain. The world sees the trophies, but it rarely sees the lonely nights, the broken plans, the silent tears behind the scenes. Persistence isn't glamorous, but it's necessary. It's doing the work even when the results are invisible. It's showing up even when the applause is silent. It's believing when everything around you whispers, it's not working. Now let me tell you the truth. Frustration is a test. It's life asking, how badly do you want it? Winners answer that test with action. They show frustration that it cannot break them. They turn frustration into fuel, not a funeral. Losers answer that test with surrender. They let frustration write the end of their story, when it was only supposed to be a chapter. Ask yourself today, when frustration comes, do I slow down, or do I dig deeper? Do I let failure define me, or do I let it refine me? Because the truth is, success is stubborn. It doesn't yield to the easily discouraged. It doesn't open its doors to the half-hearted. Success demands that you keep knocking, even when your knuckles bleed. It demands that you keep climbing, even when the summit disappears into the clouds. Persistence is the bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, even the brightest dream dies. With it, even the most impossible dream comes alive. Remember, every master was once a disaster. Every winner was once a beginner. Every champion was once a struggler who refused to quit. You may stumble, you may fall, you may crawl, but as long as you don't quit, you win. Because in the end, winners are not the ones who never failed. Winners are the ones who refuse to stay down. Persist, persist again. And when frustration screams at you to stop, persist louder. That's what separates the winners from the losers. The choice is always yours. Ladies and gentlemen, after everything we've talked about, after every principle we've uncovered, it all comes down to one undeniable truth. The choice is always yours. Not once, not twice, but every single day. Every day, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to discipline, growth, excellence. The other path leads to excuses, decay, regret, winners and losers. They face the same crossroads. They face the same challenges, the same emotions, the same opportunities. The difference isn't what happens to them. The difference is what they choose when it happens. Winners choose responsibility over blame. They choose discipline over comfort. They choose learning over pride. They choose persistence over frustration. They choose integrity over shortcuts. And those choices, those small, invisible, daily choices, build a life worth living. Losers, on the other hand, don't make one big bad decision. No, they make thousands of small ones. They choose the easy way, just for today. They choose to wait, just one more day. They choose to lower their standards, just this once. And over time, those choices stack up. And one day they wake up to a life they never wanted, a life they built by accident. But here's the good news. You can choose differently, starting today. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide. Decide that you will no longer hand your future over to circumstance. Decide that you will no longer live at the mercy of moods and moments. Decide that you will be the architect of your own life, brick by brick, choice by choice. And when you fall, and you will, choose to rise. And when you doubt, and you will, choose to believe. And when the road is hard, and it will be, choose to keep walking. Because your destiny isn't written by fate, it's written by choices. Yours. Remember, you don't get the life you wish for. You get the life you work for. You don't get the results you dream about. You get the results you discipline yourself into creating. So I challenge you today, and every day from here forward, choose the path of the winner. Choose excellence over ease. Choose action over apathy. Choose growth over comfort. Because in the end, it's not about who's lucky or who's talented. It's about who's willing. Willing to choose wisely, consistently, courageously. Your future is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. And the choice has always been yours.